from an essay titled Why My Acting Career Never Took Off. Carly was actor, director, and producer in every make-believe skit. Age 6 or 7, and I was out in Carly's yard pretending to be the farmer's wife, the broken-hearted 30-year-old, the annoying sister dying of cholera. Carly said flawed characters were more interesting to watch, but she never made herself the flawed one. I watched Carly as an example of the ideal human being, and Carly watched Zac Efron. It was Carly's dream, and by extension mine, to find a boy like Troy Bolton, singer, songwriter, actor, and in-shape high school senior. Until then, we had each other. In our skits, she was always the boy, the one I had fallen for, and I'd always end up with him, her. We'd put our palms together and kiss the backs of our hands. Every story had to have a happy ending. We went to Carly's house because it was better than mine. Her yard had a lamppost in it, and the neighbors who owned the house across the street only lived there 1 month a year. So we basically had free reign over their porch and mailbox and the occasional Southern Living magazine. The only mood killer was her mom's dog washing van in the driveway. It was big and white with a Toto license plate on the back. It was in no way relevant to the various love stories and early American settings we were going for. Once, I suggested we pretend we were auto mechanics, but she said my idea was dumb. She said she always had to think up the ideas. I had aspirations. In 3rd grade, I decided I wanted to be on Broadway. My brother landed the role of Charlie Brown in his high school play, and I thought if he could do it, maybe I could. He wasn't a good actor, but he was basically the real-life embodiment of Charlie Brown. He already had the gloomy Charlie Brown demeanor and the overwhelming averageness in appearance. So when they put the t-shirt on him and handed him a paper lunch bag, he fit the role. All he had to do was project his dull voice throughout the room. It gave me hope because before then I was convinced that all theater people were pleasantly attractive and very confident in their theater summer camp owned skills. In which case, having neither, I would be rejected from any audition on the spot. The next year, my brother landed the role of the only background shopkeeper in Aladdin the Lion. He held a loaf of bread and yelled something like, "You rascal." It was an honor because all the other actors were adults. Aladdin and Jasmine were both professionals who gave each other mono from practicing their kiss scenes so much, and the monkey was played by a middle-aged man with a pot belly. My brother kept auditioning at the same theater, and I kept telling myself that I could audition too. There was only one theater in town, and they were pretty open to having kids in the backgrounds of their plays. I thought I could be one of those kids. When I was 8 and she was 10, Carly and I decided to audition for Wicked together. But of course, I didn't have the 6-year-old girl balls and bailed on her. Though I ended up going with her for moral support anyway, as the duties of best friendhood. There were kids dressed in fairy costumes, lined up against the wall, doing stretches and fixing their makeup in tiny mirrors. They had the audacity to smile. If I'd auditioned, I would have been shaking in the corner beforehand, but I didn't audition. I walked around outside while Carly was on stage reciting some kind of monologue. I looked at the Aladdin posters on the wall from the month before. I looked at the coming soons, all these opportunities I had and never took. The same year, Carly and I went to a class on acting. Carly was trying to help me out, take me under her wing. She taught me long division when I was in 1st grade, and my first time in a nice restaurant, she taught me what toilet liners were. So when my acting needed improvement, Carly's mom or my mom or somebody's mom found a one-time 3-hour acting class in the newspaper. The class was across the street from the theater, which somehow made it more respectable. So we decided to go. The class was in this big mirrored room. They gave me flashbacks to that week of ballet class I suffered through. The instructor looked like an acting man. Blonde hair, blown back, and red, excited skin. He greeted us with a disturbingly white smile and loads of eye contact. At this point, I didn't make prolonged eye contact with adults without crying, so I had to stare at my feet for the next few minutes to make up for it. I think it did make me feel better.
Yeah, sure.